What's up, guys? My name is Khan and we're back today in Scrap Mechanic, and we're back with a build that started a long time ago and then sort of disappeared, and then Spud guns came out and all sorts of other stuff happened. It is this awesome assault hovercraft. So I did a stream a long time ago and we built a hovercraft that had just a really simple hovering mechanism, some engines on either side, and it used a gyroscope in the back to keep it stable. And this vehicle here still has a gyroscope in the back, but it also has a little bit better weaponry. Before the Spud guns came out, we made this barrel launching gun, which originally we were going to put in the hovercraft, and it was this sort of piston device that would shoot barrels. And of course, with Spud guns, this kind of becomes pointless because, you know, the barrels don't explode or anything and they don't really do much. And although this has like a cool reloading system, you can only fire 10 barrels and then you have to go and reload. So I figure we're going to rebuild it, and we're going to build it with, of course, some Spud guns just to make it awesome. So you can see there, it does have these awesome sort of vectoring engines on the side. Now it is just a pilot and co-pilot. Both seats are identical. All the controls do the same thing, but we can, you know, we can hop in the seat and then we can just press 1 and it'll bring us back up. Now, the default height for this creation is not 20 blocks off the ground like it was there. It's actually 250 blocks off the ground. So it uses blueprint edited sensors, and eventually it will get up to the 250 block height and it'll hover at that height there. But before we get up there, you know what, we can just take a look inside while it's going. It does hover relatively slowly. It moves very slowly up and down. We've got this sort of, we'll take a look at that later. But in the back here, you can see we've got this sort of logic setup. So we've got a gyro here, which is suspended quite nicely in between these 4 sensors. It does free float. It's a little bit of a mess back here, but it's all pretty much contained. The gyro adjusts these thrusters here, which, you know, have some nice little vent holes, but they adjust these thrusters as well as the outside thrusters just to sort of, you know, give the proper stability and make sure that the hovercraft stays level pretty much. Now, you can still screw it up. Obviously, you can hit the gyro, or if you tilt really aggressively or drive into like a tree or something, you know, it might screw up the gyro and the whole thing won't work. But for the most part, it stays pretty stable. You can see those thrusters going, and definitely stable enough for us to walk around. And then underneath, we've just got, you know, a bunch of logic that makes the whole thing move. So we've got a couple of WASD converters. There's no scripted blocks in this. I know there's the scripted mod that lets you have, you know, a WS converter and an AD converter. But we've got this all old school because this is a completely vanilla creation, just, you know, the test branch only. And just some WASD converters, which then go to some controls, which go to some other controls, which do some thrust vectoring and stuff. It's all pretty simple stuff. It's probably easiest if we just, you know, get in the front seat here. So I think we're at the, are we at the full height yet? No, the sensors are still active. So the sensors will eventually turn off. There are sensors, there we go, right at the height there. So there are sensors in each corner of the creation, but the sensors themselves don't actually adjust the tilt. Any one sensor picking up the ground will have the whole creation go up to that height. The tilt is purely controlled by the gyro. But you can see we've got our lovely assault hovercraft. It looks kind of ridiculous, but my favorite part is when we actually turn this thing. So it's WASD to drive, and this is the coolest part. When we hit D, we actually vector the thrust. So you don't want to hold the controls for too long. But you can see there, if we press A and D, we rotate, and then of course we press W, tilting those front ones forward, and if we press S, it will tilt the rear ones backwards. And you can see there, we can actually steer the whole hovercraft, and of course continue to fly 250 blocks above the terrain. The gyro sometimes, you know, bobbing us up and down. Now you're probably wondering, well, Con, you've used, you know, the 1 key to activate the switch, and if we press the 1 key again, you'll see we'll start to sink back down. Eventually we'll get down to the ground, and when we get down to the ground, the seat will open back up. But you're probably wondering, well, Con, we've used the 1 key and you've used WASD. You have a toolbar full of controls. What are all those other buttons and switches for? And I'm really glad you asked. If we press 2, it'll open the bay doors. If we press 3, it will deploy the super awesome Spud cannon. Now, this cannon has a lot of features. We'll get to those in a sec. Then, of course, we got to press 4, and you can see when we press 4, there's sort of these little locks way up in the hangar there, and they actually unlock the rotational movement. I find when you want to put it back up, it's easier to have these locks swivel down, just so when you're moving around with the ship, it you know, it doesn't really freak out, because you don't want the gun rotating a lot inside. So you just press 4, that unlocks the rotational movement, and then, of course, 5 and 6 are your tilt up and tilt down commands. 7 and 8 rotate left and rotate right. 9 will actually switch fire modes. So if you press and hold 9, it'll activate. You can see 2 lights on the side, either side, and then 3 lights on either side, and then 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights. So there are 3 different fire modes on this cannon. and then 0 is actually the fire button. But generally speaking, when we're using this cannon, we don't want to move because it has 36 spud guns, so it packs a little bit of a punch. But anyways, we're gonna we'll just tilt it down over here. We'll just aim it this way a little bit. Here we go. Let's just go over here. And yeah, we'll just open it up with 0. So this is fire mode number 1. This is super Gatling mode. And just insane amounts of, and you can see the hover ship, we're actually getting kind of shifted back a little bit, but just so much damage. I mean, you could just absolutely destroy somebody with this. Of course, I'm really bad at adjusting it. Hold on. No, that's okay. That's the button I wanted. No, there we go. So that's, of course, your standard Gatling mode. It fires all the barrels as they pass, a point, and spinning just a whole ring of sensors. And oh boy, it's too many potatoes colliding all at once. If you try moving while you're doing this, some bad stuff will happen. I would advise you. It's more of like a stationary siege tank kind of thing. You drive up to your location. You aim at something. We'll spawn some destructible stuff in a second here and try and actually obliterate it. But we press 9, go to fire mode 2. Fire mode 2 is, of course, the full cannon spray. So it fires all 36 cannons all at once. It has them on a repeater. I have the repeater at a little bit of a slow speed just so you can actually not completely destroy the game with lag, because if you fire them as fast as they can all shoot, it's too many potatoes and the whole game just lags right out. So it's at a little bit of a slow speed. You can see it does pack a bit of a punch, but still really awesome cannon. Then, of course, third fire mode is the standard burst shot. It fires from the inside to the outside in a cascading pattern. 3 rounds, so it's inside and then second ring and then final ring, and all 3 of them just, really obliterating stuff. And then, of course, we can switch fire modes again. You can switch at any point in time. And we can switch back Gatling mode, reactivating that Gatling turret. I personally really love Gatling mode, obviously, but the full blast is pretty good too if you want to just absolutely obliterate a creation. But we're gonna pack the cannon away, and then we'll land, and we'll try and put some destructible stuff down here. So we'll rotate here a little bit. We're not gonna shoot while moving. You can move with the cannon deployed. There's no issues there. It's just the whole shooting while moving thing is kind of a problem. We don't really want to do that. So we're just gonna move a little bit forward. Generally speaking, you don't need to hold the movement controls for too long. I mean, you just kind of let it float around. Again, it's more of a slow moving assault ship than really any sort of quick hovercraft or racing hovercraft. So here we go. We're in a good spot here. You know what? We'll just go over the half pipe. You got to be careful. It does lag sometimes. It's really weird. Sometimes it's flawless. For the most part, it's pretty lag free, but occasionally it'll just decide to explode, and the whole game will really slow down with this creation. I mean, it is a relatively complicated one, but we'll deploy the cannon, we'll land it, and then we'll re-put it back on the lift just to recenter the gyro. You can see, I think the gyro, it might be a little bit off-centered right now, but yeah, it might be. But we'll press the 1 key here, and when we do that, it'll start to fall back down to the ground. We'll just rotate this cannon into position, like so, and press the lock. Good, we're locked in. And no, that's the wrong button. Then we'll press 3, bring that back up. Perfect. And then we can press 2, close those bay doors. And yeah, I think our gyro is definitely having some issues. Something happened there when it lagged. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll just drift over here a little bit more so we can land closer to the ground. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. See, it's oh boy. I think it's hit off axis now. Sometimes the gyro does screw up. There is no interference with the gyro inside the ship, and you can see as soon as you deploy it on the lift, it does automatically float back up. It will of course lag if you put the whole thing on the ground on its own. But, it'll just float there pretty decently. So let's spawn some destructible stuff, and we'll see how much damage we can do. All right, so we've spawned in a couple of the Spud Gun multiplayer battle cubes. They're just cardboard cubes with a couple Spud Guns on them, some wheels underneath. They're not really that fancy. We'll gain height here pretty quickly until we get up to that 250 sensor block position. And we'll just deploy the cannon. It is, of course, very high up. It's very much so like a ground attack hovering aircraft. It's not a flyer. It doesn't really fly. I guess it does, but it hovers at 250 blocks. But anyways, we're gonna deploy here. So 2, 3, deploy that cannon. 4, we're gonna unlock that cannon, and let's put it on. Let's put it on full burst mode. So mode number 2. It would be really cool to have a camera that we could mount to the front of this, or maybe I should put a seat on it, but, oh, missed. Okay, hold on. It's gonna die so hard here. There we go. Look at that. Just complete destruction. That's 36 cannons. Oh god, the game does not like it. You know what? Let's just burst mode. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. It's a little bit difficult to aim from this high up. I'm not gonna lie. It's very, very touchy on the controls. Nope, wrong way. Okay, this one I think is just about obliterated. Yeah, look at that. Look at the oh my goodness. There's a seat there. I'm pretty sure, yeah, not even connected. All right, we'll get off this mode. We'll go back over to the other side there. We're a little bit far away. Now, I am gonna, of course, take this cannon off this vehicle and put it onto something else as well. But for now, we're just gonna line this up. So, okay, let's just obliterate this guy again. Full fire mode, perfect. Literally gonna cut this one in half too. You know, let's switch to burst mode. Look at how much damage that does so quickly. That's insane. Like, I mean, there, it's cut in half. Unbelievable. All right, let's do the last one there, and we'll go to full Gatling mode for this one. So, pressing the 9 key, and that's really what the memory bits are for. The memory bits in the back allow you to do that sort of selection, so you tap the 9 button, and it'll just change which fire mode you're using. The cannon itself, I built a while ago, actually. I just never really found a use for it. And then, of course, I figured, you know what, well, let's do, you know, put it on this crazy hovercraft. Here we go. This is, there we go. Yeah, just ridiculous. Like, can you imagine if we did this for Multiplayer Monday? It would last, like, 3 seconds. You would just, it's so many potatoes exploding, just breaking the game. But anyways, guys, I encourage you to try this out on the workshop if you want. You know, the gyro might need a little bit of adjusting. It seems to be okay, but again, when we fire, it's got to fight all the firing recoil, so it's why we're bouncing a little bit too much here. But, you know, it seems to work. It's, of course, completely vanilla. The solution would, of course, be infinite stabilizers everywhere, and this would just be a lot easier. But let me know what you think in the comments down below, and while you're at it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I really like this vehicle. I had a lot of fun making it, and I think it's really, really cool. And I'm definitely going to try out this thruster method for a few other creations as well at some point in time. But let me know what you think in the comments down below, and as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.